All right, yo, beautiful people, this is Nate here. And as you notice, there is no Kev today. Shout out to Kev. My man just did a barked on a very big journey. We'll talk about it next podcast. But I'm gonna fly solo today. We're gonna talk about some things we haven't potted in a while, so I want to apologize for that. But there was just too much that happened that I have to just get on mic, get some things off my chest, and some of it I get to get off with him not being here. So I get to I have nobody to check me today on my thoughts, but some things, we'll kind of roll with though. But yo, this is the Games Music Life podcast, episode 285, I think. It's a video post production. If it's not, I will put it in there. We haven't recorded in a couple weeks. Life has gotten in the way, man. Like I said, Kev has went through a bunch as far as what he went through. We got definitely some things to celebrate. We'll talk about on the next pod when we're together, when things calm down. Myself, just kind of just living, man. As far as with the kids, you already know. So as you can notice, the microphones are a little bit different today. I figured I'd try something different. I'm actually out back right now, with the dogs, letting them run around. You'll hear the birds chirping. Life is good, man. I think one of my dogs is over there throwing up. I think she is. She'll be okay. Um, but like I said, I'm outside today. It's a beautiful day, beautiful Sunday afternoon. Um, and we got a lot to talk about. So, like I said, so much has happened since the last time we potted. So, I figured before A gets old and before these thoughts leave my mind, because I am washed and I don't think about things the same anymore, I figured I'd get on the microphone and just talk about them. So, as far as with everything going on, man, life is just awesome. Like I said, there's nothing really to complain about, a lot to celebrate about between Kev and I. And just know my guy's good. He's just like I said, life is in the way right now for all of us. But I just wanted to sneak away to record today and talk about some things. And when we come together, we'll definitely let everybody know what's going on. But yeah, I definitely think the dog just threw up or something. She got it up. All right, good. Um, but yeah, man. What else can happen? It's a beautiful day in Zamunda. Ohio weather is being playing nice for us today. As I'm out here and my puppy is running around annoying the hell out of the older dog, but she gonna have to live with it, man. She got a little brother. Uh, but yeah, man. I was just kind of just taking it back as far as with just how everything is right now with sports and then music and there's everything is just so much to talk about. So many albums have come out that me and Kev just haven't had a chance to review just because of life getting in the way, but we are going to review them. But that's the beauty about music is you always can review it. Just go back and revisit it. Heck, we even talked about reviewing some older albums, just kind of revisit them and see how they age. So needless to say, we'll get to them eventually. So it's a lot of stuff to unpack with music and in just life in general. But just know your boys are good. We're both doing very well and blessed. We just got a lot going on, man. My kids are away this weekend, so I had a chance to sneak away and come out back with my two dogs and let them run around. You'll hear the wind blowing in my microphone. Like I said, it's not traditionally the setup that we normally would have, but hey, I figured we can just come outside, enjoy the weather, and let them run around and kind of kill two birds with one stone and get these thoughts out of my head. So just to start, like we always do, what we've been playing. I haven't been playing anything other than a little bit of Elden Ring. It's been a busy week for me too at work. And like I said, the puppy is kind of keeping us up at night. The thing about owning a dog, it's been a while since I had a puppy. So I never really knew. And maybe when I was younger, I had a puppy and we was the hood way. We just tied him to the tree and let him run around. So differently now, I got my wife to kind of keep me in check, and she treats this dog like a baby, which he kind of is, man. It's like having a daggone newborn. He's a good dog, but gosh, he's a lot of work. Getting up at 3 a.m. I remember 3 a.m. feedings, let alone 3 a.m. bathroom breaks, man. Go outside and use the bathroom. And that's when the old curmudgeon in me kind of comes out. I'm like, man, you're a dog. Go outside. And he looks up at me like, hey, it's cold out there. Like, whatever. You get out there and use the bathroom. That's why you're a dog and I'm a human. But nonetheless, man, that's the only thing that's going on. A little bit of Elden Ring. You'll see some Elden Ring gameplay going on as the video's going on. Cause I'm not doing a video of myself. Kev has the camera, and my camera. I didn't feel like bringing it out. So full transparency, I didn't feel like it. That's a dragonfly. That is a dragonfly. Yep. This is gonna be a short podcast. I'm a city guy, man. Some things that you have to do in life is like you got to do certain things as a dad, and then being a homeowner, you have to do certain things, and a lot of those things I just don't like to do. I'll cut the grass. That's about it. I'll do some odd things around the crib, but like bugs, that's really where I draw my line. I draw my line. But yeah, a little bit of Elden Ring, a little bit of Forza of all things. I've been playing a little bit. Still have not went back to Destiny. Um, last time I talked to Kev, because like one thing, me and Kev talk every day, all day. So it's not like we don't speak. We speak about every daggone thing, but we just haven't had a chance to get together to podcast. But when I did talk to him, he said he had been playing a little bit of 2K, and that's about it. So we'll officially welcome Kevin to the Wash game when him and I get together. But one thing I wanted to talk about too, man, I actually had a chance to really binge watch this Halo series, right? And I think Microsoft might be done, all right? And I think it might just be the Halo series might have been the nail in the coffin, because I went into it with open eyes. Like the first episode was actually pretty good, and hey man, what are you playing with? Dog got a wiffle ball. The first episode was actually pretty good. I was like, oh man, I felt good about some things happening in the actual series. There's a Paramount Plus, a lot of money went into it from what I heard. The CGI wasn't too bad, but when I tell you it's abysmal, it was a trudge. I made it all the way through. Master Chief is clapping cheeks. Okay, full transparency. He's out here really getting it in. Um, but one thing about it, I did read some of the parts of some of the books, I should say, and in the books they talk about the trauma that happened, but behind the scenes with the Spartans and everything, and they kind of touched on it on the show. I ain't say kind of, they did touch on it in the show, but it was boring. I'm not gonna front. It was completely boring. I don't know why they went that route. I knew it was bad when Master Chief pulled his helmet off. Once Master Chief pulled his helmet off, I said, yeah, we have a dumpster fire here, because that was the allure of the games. Was like he had the deep bravado voice. He was Master Chief. He was everything. And to see Master Chief getting humanized on a show, I'm not here for it. Okay, they need to dial it back, scrap this whole thing like it was the first Hulk movie that no one talks about, and just try again, because I didn't like this. Keep Master Chief's helmet on. I'm pretty sure the black dude in the show was Khalil Mack. No one wants to tell me whether it was or not. I'm gonna in my story that was Khalil Mack, and Khalil Mack is acting now too. But I didn't like it. After I finished episode 8, I'm all caught up. Anybody wants to tell me differently, get in the comments. I know people are really hating on it, and I'm one of them. I did not like it at all. Well, here's the thing. I thought part of it was good, and I thought I held on to the fact that maybe it was going to get better. But then once it ended, I was completely robbed of life. That is 8 hours of my life I can never get back, and I pissed off, and I might sell my Xbox on the strength of that. I'm not sure. But yeah, man, I'm not playing anything other than that. And like I said, that Halo series. If hey man, that Halo series. If anything, anybody wants to get in there and tell me differently, definitely let me know. Um, as far as sports wise, man, we had a lot going on with the Celtics swept the Nets since the last time we potted. So I definitely wanted to get in here and slander Kev about that, because here's my thing about the Nets. They didn't look they clearly missed Harden because they didn't have a general out there to actually kind of steady the offense. And the Celtics, even though they swept them, it was close games. Every game was close. It wasn't like they got blown out. They just got swept, and that's the kind of part that stands out to me. It's like they couldn't get a win. They couldn't get one win. But like all Kevin stick together. So I know Kev will come in here and defend Kevin Durant, and I'm here for that. So I'm sure we'll debate that when he comes back, and talk about that a little bit more. But just talking about the Nets, man, like what do they do? Like how do they get better? You got to think like a whole year of Kyrie getting back will be better for them. But like if you're the Nets, do you pay him? Do you really bring him back and pay him? I mean, he probably was the best part-time employee I've ever seen in my life, but that's not saying much because they needed him out there. Um, and if you want to get really into it, man, like their deficiencies really came from they just didn't gel. They didn't have the team didn't gel together, and I put a lot of that on Kyrie. He wasn't there for most of the year. He stood on the hill. I commend him for standing on his morals and not doing it, but I still don't even know why he didn't do it. And like everyone can say, oh, he was selfish. He didn't get the vaccine, blah blah blah, which I kind of can understand that. I'm rolling with the fact of him being selfish, but I just wanted to maybe hear from him. He don't owe it to any of us to explain why he didn't do it. But I do think if you really asked him, he don't know. What I mean? Kyrie kind of strikes me as a dude who thinks he's the smartest person in the room, and and that's not always the case. I think wise people do a lot more listening than talking, and I think that with him, he comes off like he feels like he's smarter than everybody. But just on the basketball sense, they really the Nets really needed him out there. But the Celtics, man, they seem to be the better team, and they spanked them. They beat them 4 games. Like I say, they didn't blow them out or anything, but it was definitely one of which where they proved they were the better team. I mean, heck, we got Game 7 today with Milwaukee and the Celtics, and I don't know how that's going to come about, man. Jason Tatum is definitely tapping into the beige rage, and he is out here hooping. Last game, he did some things I didn't even think he was capable of, but nonetheless, man, back to the Nets. I don't know what they're going to do. They still got to tackle the Ben Simmons issue. I don't really know, if Ben Simmons is going to be okay. I'm one of which, man, mental health is one of those things where I think it's important, but I do think it's trendy right now. I think that everyone talks about it, and I think it's kind of a thing where people put it off on their mental health being not great. And I think with Ben Simmons, and I sympathize with him. If that is what's going on with him, then I sympathize with him. I don't necessarily believe it. I think some of it has to be on Doc, man. Like Doc Rivers does things to players that I've never really seen. It's like, when Superman was dating Lois Lane, he went to that hyperbolic chamber or whatever it was called, and he lost all his powers. That's what Doc does to superstars, man. We seen him do it with James Harden this series that they lost to the Miami. I mean, here's the thing, man, with Miami. He's kind of talking about that a little bit. They clearly were a better team. You know what I'm saying? They clearly were a better team. But with that being said, we've seen Doc do this to now James Harden. We see him do it to Ben Simmons, and we see him do it to Paul George. And I had to talk to a couple friends of mine, and Paul George's numbers in the playoffs before he got to Doc was like so much better. But like, let's talk about the James Harden thing for a second, all right? As I like to call him, Moochie Harden, Moochie Norris Harden. The only thing difference between James Harden, basically James Harden is Moochie Norris with a six-car garage. You know what I'm saying? He's Harold Miner with money. That's pretty much what James Harden is at this point in his career, and I can't really figure out why. Part of my slander wants to put it on Doc and say it was Doc's fault, and it was like I said, it was something that Doc took his superpower away. But some of it I got to put on James Harden, man. Like he had 0 points in the second half of that game. There was no way in heck that he should have the same amount of points that I had. You know what I'm saying? The second half of a playoff game, he had the same amount of points as my son Dante did in the second half of the basketball game. You know what I'm saying? And I don't really understand why that is the case. Like I could put some of it on Doc, and he tried to say basically he tried to say it like he didn't get the ball back. But at some point, man, the pride in you got to say, give me the ball and get out the way, or at least chuck. At least get out there and chuck. If you go 0 for 30, I can say, it was an off night. He gave it all. He was out there being so passive. And if we're gonna hold LeBron's feet to the fire and say that he quit on that series. I forget which one it was back when he was mentally beat out of it. We got to put that same onus on James Harden, man. He looked like he quit on that team. Like he quit on the Sixers. And if you're the Sixers, what do you do? Because now it's the offseason, just like I said about Kyrie. Do you give him that money? I mean, like the Sixers it'll be done for them. They're in complete hell right now because they literally have to give him the money because they gave away so much and to get him, but they got a limit. They folded. They should have waited to the offseason and traded Ben Simmons in the offseason if they was going to trade it, but they got nervous. They got nervous. They traded for Harden. Morey wanted that old thing back, and we're seeing where it's getting them. I don't believe that the Sixers can really make it out of this, man. I think that they're really in trouble with that trade. Maxey was out there trying to do everything he was trying to do, but ultimately he's young. And you got to give kudos to Jimmy Butler, man. Once again, Kev's not here to defend my praise of Jimmy Butler, but I'm gonna give him his flowers, man. Jimmy Butler put his foot on the Sixers, and the Heat were clearly a better team. And when you lose like that at the crib, you lose like that in Philly. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. That says a lot. You know what I mean? Philly's a prideful place. I'm from Camden, New Jersey, so I'm a big Philly fan. I'm not really a Sixers fan per se, but I definitely was rooting for him. But I knew that it was going to be over, and I actually rooted for it to end because it was a series I didn't want to watch anymore. You clearly can watch it, and it's like watching, you know what I'm saying, Ivan Drago beat up on Apollo Creed. Man, we knew Apollo was going to get the brakes beat off him. Apollo was out there with all the glitz and glamour, and Ivan Drago came out there and broke him in half, man. But I wonder where the Sixers go from here. Like, what are they gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they gotta kind of have to bring back James Harden because they don't really have anything else to really do, But if because James Harden's gonna opt out, he'd be dumb not to. But are you gonna pay him $40 million a year? I mean, seriously, is anybody really gonna do so? So I mean, it's a pivotal time, man. As an older dude, one thing about watching these playoffs that kind of like was bittersweet for me is like we're seeing the torches get passed right now. We're seeing the players that I might have not so much grown up with, but I'm seeing their whole era. It's like it's changing, right before our eyes. The Lakers not being in the playoffs was very telling as far as like moving LeBron out of the picture. We get to see other players step up and see the greatness in these younger guys. But it's kind of bittersweet as far as to see like what's going on. Like I said, we got Game 7 today between the what is it the Bucks and the who the Bucks playing? Jeez, I just lost my train of thought. The Bucks are playing the Celtics. All right, so we get to see that. We get to see if Giannis is really him. Giannis has been hooping. You know what I'm saying? Giannis is out there. He looks like he walks like a baby giraffe, but his game is not really pretty all the time, but it's effective, and he's hooping. You can't really take nothing away from him. Jason Tatum has been ascending, playing very well. I do believe that Marcus Smart's green hair is going to block the Celtics, though. I do believe so. The Celtics being at home, I think they have the advantage, but I gotta think the Bucks are gonna figure it out. That championship mentality is gonna step in, and they're gonna figure it out today. I think they're about to play at 3:30 today. Game 7 between the Mavericks and the Suns is this afternoon. I'm pretty sure, and it kind of goes back to my stance on Kevin Durant. Man, you couldn't bring the Nets to win one game, just one game. You know what I'm saying? Luca is out here doing everything he can. We haven't seen Dinwiddie in the whole series. I don't know what's up with him. Jalen Brunson is out there looking like Nick Van Exel reincarnated. So shout out to him. But once again, I'm going to give it a lot of net slander because hey, they couldn't pull out one win. So we'll see what happens by that. But yeah, some good basketball is going on this afternoon, and I'm here for it, man. The playoffs have been pretty good, I will say. I've enjoyed them. These late games are kicking my butt. Like sometimes I'm making it through. The washness in me is like, yo, I'm at the point where like the game starts. I'm like, do I get an energy drink? But if I drink it, I'm gonna be up till late. I'm not gonna be good tomorrow. So should I do it? And that's just being an old wash man. So these late games, the only thing I can say I will say I'm grateful about. Um, Music wise, man. So, oh, and also before I get on music, protect Jameis Winston at all costs. I don't know if y'all seen that interview with him, or he's out there fighting the English language out of his mouth. Um, Listen, Jameis Winston's a national treasure. Protect him at all costs. Other than that, nothing really going on with football. And sports wise, like I said, NBA. One thing I realized too is I'm 43 years old. I do not know when the NHL season starts and it ends. I was yesterday years old when I found out that the playoffs are actually going on in NHL, and I'm kind of sad about it because I think it is something I wish I would have kind of embraced because I do think that I'd have enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? But like, because like we have a team here, we got the Blue Jackets, I think, and I've been to a couple games. Me and the wife has been, and we've enjoyed them, but I don't know if I could like get season tickets or anything like that, but I definitely feel like it's something I missed. I wish I would have embraced the whole NHL. I do think NHL was actually pretty daggone cool, but like I said, I don't I do not know when the NHL season starts and ends. And that's that. So, and I feel like as a sports fan, I should have done better with that in my life. But hey, we all live on our own horse. Um, so musically, man, Pusha T's album came out, which I definitely loved. I thought it was very a little odd that Malice had the best verse on the album, but it was a good album. I will say that. But me and Kev are going to review that one. I just kind of wanted to talk about that for a second, and then I really want to have an honest conversation too. Two honest conversations. One of which is Future. Right, and like I said, at 43 years old, I understand Future's music is not necessarily for me, and but I want to try to understand who it's for. Like Rod Wave's music isn't for me. NBA YoungBoy's music is not for me. But I kind of see their allure. I see why the young boys would kind of get. I think young dudes just like the. It's funny. The struggle is a good story for them, right? With Future, I don't really understand who his music's for, man. Like I really don't. Like I made it through a couple songs. The only songs I really actually liked. Well, I made it through the whole album. Let's just say that. But the only songs I actually liked was one with Tim's and Drake. I like that one. Other than that, man, Future ain't talking about a damn thing through the whole project, man. Like at 38 years old, you got to give more to it than that. Like at some points, I listen to some Future albums. Like I do like the singy Future albums, and I thought that he was basically trying to like sing a lot of pain out. With this one here, man, I'm like, I really don't understand who this music is for. It wasn't good. I didn't like it at all. But one thing I didn't like more than that was Jack Harlow, right? So shout out to my second oldest daughter. She graduated from college, University of Toledo, a couple weekends ago, and was it last week? Last week. And me and the wife went down there because we were about 2.5 hours away. I was like, man, let me give this Jack Harlow album a chance because it just came out. So we listened to it on the way down, and we're talking, of course, but we kind of like stopped for a second, and she wasn't saying much about it, but I was just listening to it. But then on the way home, she had some stuff to do with school, and we kind of talked about the graduation and everything. But I also put it on Jack Harlow again on the way home, And I really figured it out, man. Jack Harlow's an industry plant, okay? And the reason why I say that, because his music just isn't good. Like, it literally is just not good at all. Like, I couldn't stand on, okay, the songs are decent. You know what I'm saying? The songs are decent, but it has nothing to do with him. He's not a good rapper. Period. He's just not. Like, okay, I everybody has got a hot 16 they've had in their life, right? Like, everyone has written something down and said, you know what, I can rap. This is my 16. And you might even change up a rap with your bars on top of it, but keeping the same song, right? I know if you give me a pen and a pad in like 2 hours, I can make a better rap than Jack Harlow. Like some of the stuff he says, like just the song he had with Drake. Listen to that song. Just listen to what he is saying. He's not talking about a daggone thing, and even the things he's saying is nursery rhymish. Like it's very very bad, like very bad. So I don't understand the how he's got the push behind him. And the only thing I can think about is he's an industry plant, and like I can't put the white thing on him because there's other white rappers that have been very good. There's other rappers out there that are white. They're just they nice. They got bars. This guy has nothing. And I don't really understand why he's getting the push that he has, man. But Jack Harlow might be an industry plant. I'm standing on that hill for sure. But yeah, that album, like, I don't even know anything stood out to me. Like the song "Side Chicks" was okay, but I think he really had a good message behind it. But the actual bars, man, like it's like the words he was rhyming didn't make a lot of sense, and I just didn't get it. I just didn't really get it. And I know I'm gonna come off as a hater, and that's cool. I don't have no problem with that at all. But I really do not understand the allure of Jack Harlow. The dude is not good, man. So and I want somebody in the comments to tell me I'm wrong, or tell me what is the allure behind Dude, because it definitely didn't, it didn't sit well with me listening to that album. Like, man, this guy he has all these record deals and stuff. Like, and people are calling him talented. Where's the talent? I don't get it. But anyways, I can go on forever. I think me and Kev are going to review that project because I want to. And maybe it'll change. I may come in and it might change for me later in time. I don't think so because I do believe he's one of the top five worst rappers of all time. I put him up there with Warren G. When Warren G said "What's next" was NXET, young Nadir threw that CD out the window. I never forget. I was on the way home from the fair, and he said that. And to this day, Regulators comes on, and I get like the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, and I literally want to like invoke violence on something. Like I might break a bottle if I hear Regulators, because it's one of the top 10 worst songs I've ever heard. And I know people love it, whatever. I don't care. I'm not a fan of old school rap anyway, and I know people like, oh, they scoff at that, but that's just my opinion. Um, I can give or take, Sugar Hill Gang and all that. Like, no, Houdini, no, stop it. But it's kind of like the Bob Cousy effect. Like, people, they'll probably try to give credit to Bob Cousy. Kyrie would cook Bob Cousy, all right? And Kendrick Lamar would cook the Sugar Hill Gang. I don't care. They laid the foundation or whatever it may be. I don't like old school rap, and that's just my opinion. And that's the vibe that Jack Harlow gives me. It's like old school nursery rhyme rap. So I don't like it. Speaking of Kendrick, so last week, he dropped the Heart Five, and like Kendrick, before he drops an album, he always drops the Heart series, and it like kind of like gets you ready for the album to come out. So when he dropped the Heart Five, he dropped the visuals with it, where he changed faces and everything, and everybody was up in arms about it because it was very good. And I am not gonna lie to you, I almost grabbed the same headphones I'm talking on right now, and went for a walk and talked about it because I thought it was that impactful. As the dog it plays with the wiffle ball bat right here, right next to the microphone. Um, but I thought the visuals were dope. Kendrick definitely did his thing with that. So then he dropped the album this past Friday, and me and Kev are going to review the album. I think it's something we definitely want to talk about. Some of the features that he had on there was artists that we had kind of been talking for. Sampha, in particular, I've been wanting to hear more from because I'm like, where's Sampha been at? But we've been waiting for Kung Fu Kenny to drop for a while. I'm interested to see what Kev thinks. I'm interested to see which songs stand out to him. I know which ones stand out to me. I don't know if there's any forgettable songs. I do think that Kendrick's albums are really, it's layered, and it's not easily digestible right off the bat. You have to kind of live with it for a little bit. And that's not to say, I know people say, oh, you gotta live with something, meaning that you didn't like it, but you just had to make yourself give it time to like it. I like it. I love the album, but I do want to understand why I love it, because it definitely touched on some things that even I had to look inside myself and be like, man, do I have these things going on? I do feel this way as well. So it's definitely gonna be some things to unpack and talk about when me and Kev get together. But yo, I just want to kind of just come on and and talk a little bit and kind of like just let people know what's going on. Like I said, life is good. Life is awesome. Matter of fact, we're immensely blessed. My guy has embarked on a new chapter, and I'm definitely excited to talk about it when he comes back and we get together to pod again. And it might be a mobile pod. I might pull up on him and we might just pod going to go to Sonic and get it like a slushy or something just to get us on here. Because me and him, like I said, we talk all the time. That's my brother, but we just haven't had a chance to get the microphones in front of us. So. But yo, I just wanted to kind of come on and just talk a little bit as my puppy eats some mulch here, making sure he don't choke on nothing. But yo, beautiful people, this was the Games Music Life podcast, episode 285. This was just me, Nate here. Shout out to Kev, shout out to everybody else. But yo, drink more water, people. Peace.